Hey, what's going on, friends? My podcast every day is broken up into two parts on the free platform. The first part, Act 1, is right now. When it's all done, go right on over to Act 2 to get the second half of the podcast. Thank you so much for checking out my show. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in to the Eric Zane Show podcast. Daily show where I discuss news, nonsense, and my personal adventures from right here in the Impact Power Sports studio. So glad you are here, puppy dogs in tow, in this dimly lit room. I do believe that is one Jason Terry who is joining us. Just picking up, just merging right into traffic. He's totally cool. I love that. I love it when we can fix shit, you know? That's happened twice. Bleeding Heart Brian and I worked it out. Jason Terry and I worked it out. There may have been others. He writes, I'm glad that you took me back. Oh, come on now. You could have, I don't know. Hang on, I'm messing this camera up. Sorry. It was, I'm glad that you came back because it was an odd set of circumstances that happened in the first place. Rebecca says, what happened in the first place? That was, I was dogging Kate Creer, the wife of Stafford Township Councilman Paul Creer, and giving her a bunch of shit based on the great Zaniac Exodus. And so we were both giving each other shit. She's a podcaster now, by the way. She's a very prominent podcaster. She's found her way in the podcasting space. Let me just get out in front of this, too. He says, are you going to talk about Michigan football? No, Joe, I'm not going to talk about Michigan football today. We've got there's nothing to talk about. So, we'll talk about what the adults are talking about, and we'll just take the rest as it comes. He writes that I'm turning you off. Oh, no, don't do that. Everyone will be so upset if you're not here to interject. Everyone will be so despondent that you won't be here. So anyway, I was talking shit about Kate. And now she's got like a podcast. And so the podcast, I haven't seen it or heard it in a long, long time, but I know she does it. Then, according to what Jason says, he realized after the fact that he said, hey, I don't like that you're talking shit about Kate, so I'm out of here. Then, as in his words, not mine, I'm not putting words in his mouth. He's like, God damn it, I haven't heard from her in forever. I don't even talk to her anymore. I think, and then he kind of started hearing words about what she's really made of, and he's like, oh no, I might have. This might have been an unnecessary thing. So, way too much time passed. He reached out to me, and because we're adults, we put that to bed rather quickly, and I'm glad he did. He allowed me to speak my piece. And then after I did that, he actually responded and said, well, yeah, here's what I was thinking. I went, all right. Good enough for me. Fake Free Beer writes, I'm glad people don't get bullied in here anymore. Yeah, I don't think anybody's ever been bullied in here. That's not really my game. People know what they sign up for when they come in here, and if they don't, if they don't like it, then they just leave. It's that simple. Showbro Michael 91 says one day left of work after today. Then I'm hitting the river for salmon here in Pulaski, New York on Salmon River. Well, that's awesome. Goddamn, anytime you can get out in the outdoors, it's just exceptional. I don't know what it is. I don't much care for any type of sporting adventures like that. However, I am considering getting into kayaking or canoeing. Honestly, I don't like the idea of catching the fish and reeling it in. I'm such a Nancy. It breaks my heart. And it's getting worse as I get older. I can't handle any of the idea that the thing is suffering. Let's see. Yankees suck, says catch and release. Yeah, even that I can't do it because you think about it. Imagine if you're walking along and all of a sudden you've got a hook in your mouth and it's ripping your face off and you get dragged into a boat and then they have to pull it out and then throw you back into the water. Or whatever the fuck. Yeah, I can't even handle that. I just say let the fish do fish things. Unless I'm like starving for food, then I don't. That's part of my problem with catching the mice. It breaks my heart that I have to kill vermin. I'm that fucked up. There was a wolf spider in the skimmer in the pool just yesterday, and he is about the size of, if you can picture a silver dollar, he was about that big. And as I pulled the skimmer out, he's in the water. Like, he can walk on top of the water, but not for long. He's going to die. So I fucking, I pulled him. I actually put him in my hand and walked him out and laid him down. People don't do that. Like Rebecca, she says, no, I'm not doing that. No, I don't want to fucking kill the spider. Jesus. All right. Yeah, Yankees suck. 138 is bitching about the ads. You can do something about that. Just so you know, this ridiculously amazing Twitch platform, there's a cost, the infrastructure. It's not free. Ding dong. And one way or the other, there's money that's going to be made. I'm providing the content. The ads pay for it. I get a little bit of that goddamn money. When you see those ads, I'm getting paid. The only way around it is if you give me $5.99 a month on Twitch. He says I joke. All right, buddy. I appreciate you. I want to get into Dude Shadoway, the package that was delivered to my house. I can't even say that with a straight face. Ben Glaze found the Dude Shadoway material on his hard drive. And I'm not 100% sure, but I would say that all of the material, there's more than 40 Dude Shadoway interviews, more than 4 hours of Dude Shadoway that he sent to me. And I was like, my God, I have, this is the only place that you'll find these. And he goes, I know it. I stumbled upon it and I sent them along to you. So I just got those. Thank you to Ben. And I just started posting them all into Patreon. The Lost Dude Shadoway recordings. I've got about 5 or 6 of the episodes up, and it's just the amount of time that it takes me to post them. So I rattled off 5 or 6 today, and I'll do more. I assume by the end of tomorrow or the next day, I will have all of them posted. Jeremy says, I just listened to the Barry Williams one. That was Greg Brady, Barry Williams. I can tell you that I remember very little about any of these, and I will not listen to them. I don't like to listen to that old shit too. But it's there for you. I know a lot of people like it, so have at it. It's on Patreon only, and you can get them for free at patreon.com/Eric Zane. So how about that? If you're enjoying the free podcast, awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. But on my Patreon, the whole Dude Shadoway catalog, as far back as we know from GRD, is in there. Ben says that the Mary Jo Buttafuoco one is unedited. And on that one, I think, yeah, Ben wrote what I referred to her. I referred to her as Mary Jo Buttfuck. Jeremy says, I may have also promoted this on the FBHW subreddit. Yeah, I don't know if you could. You might want to pull that down. That would make me happy if you pulled that down from there. Let's just let this be something that I talk about on this podcast. And if people find it on Patreon, they find it. I don't want to go full on every bit of social media that I have posting this, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a cease and desist if I'm not careful. So when I get the cease and desist, then I'll pull it down. That's why you have to go now and download that material. So get it while you can. Matt says, easy, are you the dude? Does that mean Trump is fake too? I'm not going to answer that question. Let me just give you the background of the dude. Megan says, what happens when you get the C&D? That's the threat of a lawsuit. That's what that is. I get them all the time. And I usually just go, kind of finagle my way through it. They're not the most fun, but it happens. It's all about making omelets around here. Megan says, do they serve you papers? How do you get those? No, you get an email copy and you get a physical copy in the mail. That's what's going on. So anyway, the history of Dude Shadoway. 24-year-old Eric doing his thing, radio, Z93, and I was introduced to a character known as the Chucker. That is a guy by the name of John Lassman. Lassman was on KQRS radio in Minneapolis. This is all his character, the Chucker. Very similar sounding voice. The dude is a total ripoff of John Lassman's The Chucker. If you ever feel so inclined, in fact, I'll leave it in the show notes, look up The Chucker. And when I heard those tapes, I thought, this is so funny. And the time the internet wasn't even around then, hardly. So I said, well, on our radio station here in Saginaw Bay City, Midland, I'm going to rip that bit off and do it on my own, on the Joe and the Poor Boy show. So I came up with the voice, hello, this is the dude, power. Now, the Chucker does the same thing. He goes, power. He does all that shit. The dude is a total ripoff. Chucker, Chucker. In fact, I should play some of the Chucker while I'm here. The Chucker Woody Harrelson. I don't know if these are going to stand the test of time, but you'll hear the similarities here.
America's drag queen sweetheart.
What the fuck is that?
All right. My Power 92 Radio and your Chucker up here in the Playhouse, boys and girls. Today in the Celebrity Corner, calling all the way from New York City, we have the one and only Woody Hamilton from Cheers. How are you?
I'm good, Chuck. How are you? I'm actually in Los Angeles. I'm a stickler for details sometimes. Chuck?
Now, of course, a few years ago, old Diane left the show. Do you ever hear from her anymore?
No, sir. Nope. No, never hear from her.
Do you know what she's doing nowadays? 'Cause I just love her.
No, I haven't talked to her in probably a year and a half.
Every time I watch that show, I'm just amazed at old Normie sitting there all the time. Does his wife ever call up investigating as to his whereabouts?
Well, I'm not sure, Chuck, and to tell you the truth, I was kind of calling to talk about the music. You know, I rap about Cheers a lot, and to tell you the truth, it gets kind of dull for me, so I'd prefer to talk about the music.
I just love that music. Where'd you come up with that one?
Making your way in the world today.
I didn't exactly write that one myself, dude.
Come again?
I didn't write that one. Anyway, if we could segue on to something a little more interesting, I'd appreciate it. I'm not really into doing an overall interview about Cheers. As I said, it gets kind of, old hat to talk about it. So, some other time let's chat about that, and let's talk about the music for now. That's kind of the reason I called you.
I had no idea that you had an interest in a recording career.
Well, I don't really have so much an interest in the recording as the performing, I'd say. You know, I just love performing. I love performing the music. I love performing in general, you know, theater, that kind of thing.
What can we expect when we see you live in concert?
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of spontaneity, to tell you the truth. And so I don't really know what to expect. It varies a lot from show to show. We have more music than we have, time. And I guess, we never know, what exactly we're going to play. You like that song, don't you, Chuck? Good talking to you, Chuck. I gotta get going. So you take care of yourself.
What advice would you give to up-and-coming actors that someday want to get in the business?
Well, I'd tell them to, number one advice, really, do some theater.
A little Shakespeare in the Park, maybe?
Oh, I think that'd be particularly good, yeah. Well, Chuck, I'm outie. I'm 5,000. See ya.
Can't thank you enough for all the time.
Okay, we'll see you.
The one and only Woody Hamilton. Star of Cheers and now that crazy rock band right here at Pop Power 92 Radio.
Okay. So that's what my ears heard. And I was like, I got to do this shit. God damn, is that funny? I always felt that mine was a absolute cheap imitation because it was. Okay. But at the time, it didn't matter because you could only listen in your local area. There was only one way to hear it. So as time passed, the world starts getting smaller with the internet. John Lastman is program director of one of the stations that carried my show back in the day on Free Beer and Hot Wings. And so I get him on, and I'm like, we interviewed him. I talked to him about this exact thing, and he found it flattering. He was totally cool with it, kind of gave me the blessing of it. Now I think John Lastman is in Detroit, and I'm not sure if he might be at the Riff or something like that. He's doing something, but I think the Chucker may have had a revival. But I always liked the way he did the Chucker, and then I just basically ripped off the whole concept, the things he says, total ripoff, and did it on my own. The name The Dude came to be because I had just recently, when I was introduced to these tapes, watched the fucking Big Lebowski. And I love that character. I go, I'm just going to take that name with that character and schedule interviews and do them. So there was a whole bunch that happened on Z93, and I don't know where they are. I don't have any of those. And then as I went to WIMZ, and we did The Dude there, and then did The Dude here. Chris says, wait, it's a character? Some of the ones that I've already posted, you can listen to The Dude and Carson Daly, The Dude and Carney Wilson, The Dude and Buzz Clifford, Bobby Boris Pickett, Barry Williams, the Barbie Twins, Andy Williams, and there's a bunch more. Charo, Chuck Barris from The Gong Show, Corey Clark from American Idol, Crispin Glover, David Copperfield, that's from Knoxville. He got pissed. He was pissed off. David Faustino from Married with Children, Dita Von Teese, who I think she's some model. Dr. Elmo, we got in big trouble for that one. Dr. Elmo, the guy who he sang that fucking birthday song. He got so pissed off. We got in trouble. Dustin Diamond, R.I.P. Fabio. Thank you, The Dude. Frank Stallone, where The Dude got Frank Stallone's name as Frank Stallone. Gavin McLeod, Captain Steubing from The Love Boat. Henry Winkler. Ian Ziering. Janice Dickinson from Price is Right. The guy who played Boba Fett, Jeremy Bullock. Jordan Knight, New Kids on the Block. Jocelyn James, I don't know who that is. Kenny Kramer, like the guy Kenny Kramer, who the character Kramer on Seinfeld was inspired. Kenny Kramer inspired Cosmo Kramer. Lorenzo Lamas 1, Lorenzo Lamas 2. I guess I interviewed him twice. Lou Ferrigno. Now, I do remember one moment from Lou Ferrigno because it was so goddamn awkward. Lou Ferrigno, at one point, I said, "What's the matter? Are you deaf?" Because he is deaf. And I think I asked him, "Why you talk so funny?" or something, because he's got one of those deals going on. Oh, fuck. Let me just tell you, doing those was extremely difficult. I had a lot of difficulty, and I would feel bad all the goddamn time. And there was always a mess to clean up after we did The Dude. Because somebody would call up so pissed off, some publicist, Chris says, didn't you do some on BBL? Yes. If you've heard him on Lost Zane recordings, yes, for sure. I don't know how many I did on there. I think they were less memorable. Hey, it's Eric Zane here to tell you about my new favorite marketing partner, Mint Mobile. For the longest time, we've been paying way too much for our cell phone service, our plans, whatever it is, mobile device, whatever you want to call it. Every so often, they put the screws to you just a little bit at a time. You don't even notice. Next thing you know, you check out the bill. You're like, wait a minute. This is not what I decided to pay for. What has happened? Okay, forget all of that. You can skip it all right now. Everything is about to change for you. Mint Mobile is the key. With Mint Mobile, you'll never have to worry about gotchas ever again. That's what I'm talking about, where they slowly raise your prices that you pay. When Mint Mobile says $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan, they mean it. Say goodbye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is premium wireless plans starting at just $15 a month. All the plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You're like, easy, tell me more. This is all you do. I did this. All my family has done this, and you should too. To get the new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/Zane. That's good anywhere. mintmobile.com/Zane. Cut your wireless bill from whatever ridiculous amount that you're paying each month to $15 a month. mintmobile.com/Zane. Pay attention to this legalese. $45 upfront payment. That is equivalent to the $15 a month for 3 months. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speeds slower, 40 gigs on unlimited plan. Don't even worry about that. I use that, and it's no big deal. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. I always felt like shit. Mary Jo Buttafuoco, which I mentioned earlier. Nikita Koloff, I think he's a former pro wrestler. Paul Anka was a big one because he started screaming at me. Former presidential candidate and consumer advocate Ralph Nader. Richard Heaney. He's the father. Do you remember that viral story of the balloon boy, that kid that they said was in the balloon floating across America, but he was actually in the goddamn attic? His dad. Richard Simmons. That was a very memorable one. R.I.P. Ron Artest. The guy who was the actual soup Nazi from Seinfeld. I don't know his name. Steven Seagal. Some guy named Swamp Master. Don't know. And Troy Aikman. I will have all of those posted soon enough. Patreon.com/Eric Zane. You can sign up for free for 7 days. Or just sign up and throw $5 or $10 a month at it. It's up to you. If you sign up for 7 days, you need to put in a payment form, but you can easily just cancel it right after, and you still get the 7 days. So, but I would love it if you just signed up and enjoyed what I have posted there. Help support the show, please. And then maybe enjoy Who Are These Free Beers? Check out that show, or maybe my Patreon bonus podcast, the Lost Zane recordings I have on there for my time at WBBL. And a couple other shows, which I've put on the back burner because of the popularity of Who Are These Free Beers, including Who Are These Zanes. And I think that's about it. There might be some more. I don't know. I lose track of all of my stuff on there. Let's take a look, because you just click on collections, and then I categorize them on there. We had one episode of Who Are These Stephen Kyles, a few episodes of Who Are These Ottawa County Fascists, the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast. I knew I was forgetting something. My weekly show with Ben Glaze. Plus, something to listen to while I'm away. Full shows from the past. All right. Matt says the dude should be on the Bomedy podcast. Matt says that was hilarious. They were hilarious, especially when dude started cracking himself up. Ben says, I remember hiding under the desk and laughing at the ones on BBL. That's a very common type of reaction for people because Hot Wings used to do the same thing. But a lot of the times he would write jokes for me. And he would write the joke, and then I'd see his hand come up from underneath the counter, and he'd like wave it like Thing from the Addams Family. And so I'd see he wrote a joke, I'd reach over, and then I'd bust the joke out on the air. That's how he did it. A lot of times Greg would leave the studio, just couldn't be there for it. Megan says, wait, Hot Wings had a funny? Yeah, he can write. He just can't speak. He's got some type of disability or something. All right. John Lastman is back in St. Cloud, Minnesota on WHMH. Probably voice track something for WCSX in Detroit, too. Maybe. No, he's great. All right. So that's about all I got for that. If you want to check it out, it'll be great. And I'm enjoying that I have that material. Thank you, Ben. Waiting at my mailbox for the C&D. It's coming. So you might as well enjoy it while you can. This show is brought to you by, the studio is brought to you by Impact Power Sports. If you want a four-wheeler, an ATV, a side-by-side, they got everything you need. E-bikes, motorcycles, zero-turn radius lawnmowers, scooters. Not to mention, they are Michigan's newest dealer of Yamaha golf carts. Impact Power Sports, MI.com is their website. And you can also visit them in Rockford, Michigan. Ben Glaze says he's probably going to get a Stern talking to also. That was a common thing. Ben used to get in trouble with Free Beer all the time. Like after he left, like Ben started working with me, and whenever he did something or said something that Greg didn't like, because he would listen to the show, poor Ben would get a phone call. Now, Ben's a grown man, and Greg would be like, yeah, Benjamin, just wanted to have a word with you. I heard this happen on the show today, and I heard this or I heard that, and I'm very disappointed. You're going to have to do better. And Ben's like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? And poor Ben, he was fucking... Ben was in the weeds after BBL. Because if you remember, like I started doing the podcast, and a couple months after that, the equivalent of this happened. I was like sitting there, minding my own business, and then Ben kicked me in the balls. Whoa! And like I got run over by a bus. What the fuck is going on around here? And so then Ben went and like apologized to... He did like some long-winded apology on social media to Freeburg and Hopkins. I'm like, no, don't do that, you idiot. But so then we were like officially fighting. And then time passes. And then he reached out and he goes, "Hey, this is stupid. We should probably turn this around." I go, "All right, yeah, I think that's a good idea. Let's do that." So we did, and then all is forgotten. You know, I'm very reasonable. If anybody is willing to come up and say, "Hey, I've rethought this. Maybe we should turn this around." And it was so meant to be because it's been nothing but amazing since then. I'm so glad that Ben Glaze is in my life. Poor Ben, he writes, "I still feel bad about that." Fuck it. Sometimes it takes people a little bit more time to figure shit out. It's no big deal. Whatever. Tyler says, "Do you cringe every time he brings this up?" Well, whatever. I don't have any bad feelings about it. It's just silly, you know. Kenny says, "I remember that time. I kept trying to get you two to kiss and make up. LOL." All right. So that's where I'm at. It's all good. In fact, tomorrow is a Big Fraud Thursday. And Ben and I have a weekly edition now of Who Are These Free Beers on Patreon. Oh, my God. This is turning out to be so much fun. So another perfect opportunity for me to mention that Patreon has to be on your radar for you to check out Who Are These Free Beers, followed by the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast. A Big Fraud Thursday commences tomorrow. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for supporting on Patreon. All right. The fuck was I going to talk about? I'm not going to lie to you. Today's one of those days where it's like things were hard to come by in terms of topics to talk about. It has been a slow news cycle. You know it's slow when there's a goddamn assassination attempt and no one even really pays attention to it. Trump was in Flint, Michigan yesterday, and he says to the folks something to the effect of, the only presidents who get an assassination attempt are the ones that are consequential. So he's acting, it sounds to me like he's saying that that's a point of pride. You know you're doing something right when people are trying to kill you. Yeah, I don't know about that. You know you're doing something right when people are trying to kill you. Meanwhile, Vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance was around here in Sparta, Michigan. And he requested that the Democrats lower the rhetoric or cool things down a bit. I'm like, I'm not sure what the fuck he means by that. I should probably grab that audio. It might be interesting. I didn't think it was when I first saw it, but now I kind of want to play it. It might not be available now. Hold on a second. One-man show, folks. Bear with me. No, I pretty much suck. That's very frustrating. You see it's there at one point, and then they oh, there it is. Oh, my God. I knew if I kept trying, I would be able to get it. One-on-one with J.D. Vance. Senator Vance calls on Democrats to tone down the rhetoric. All right, we got to get through a commercial. No big deal. Usually the case.
Speaking to supporters in Sparta Township this afternoon, we have team coverage of Vance's visit. Our Josh Berry will break down his speech for us in just a bit. First, though, we're going to check in with Fox 17's Eileen Gould, who got an exclusive interview with Vance before he took the stage.
Ohio Senator and Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance making his 5th trip to Michigan today, his 4th to West Michigan.
That's incredible. Again, I've talked to you about how the center of the election world is not just Michigan, West Michigan. If a few of these counties go the way they'd like them to be, the whole election will be won. Because if these counties go the way one side or the other wants it, Michigan will follow suit. If Michigan goes a certain way, it being a swing state, that could turn the whole election for either candidate. And prior to Harris getting in, this was the Trump state. Trump was going to win it. Now I'm not so sure. Now it's a toss-up.
This trip just days after the second apparent assassination attempt on former President Trump. I sat down with him exclusively one-on-one before his remarks. His message today, it's time to turn down the rhetoric.
President Trump has now had 2 assassination attempts on his life in the past 2 months. Thank God that hasn't happened on the other side. But more importantly, a lot of this stuff seems motivated as much by censorship as anything else.
A call to cool down the temperature.
It's not just that Donald Trump is bad, they say. It's also that he is a threat to democracy. He must be eliminated. He must be silenced. He must be kicked off of social media.
Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance.
I haven't heard that. Kicking him off of social media? I don't want to live in a world where Trump is not on social media. I love Trump on social media.
Arguing that the language used by Democrats is inciting violence.
When you
come on. That I've heard that trope be wheeled out before. Right. Sure. Democrats don't ever do things like try to kill people. Crazy people try to kill people, and they're not Democrats.
These criticisms of his policy with the argument that he has to be censored, some person is going to take a gun into their own hands and decide to actually commit the ultimate act of censorship, which is killing somebody. So I really do think that both sides can do better, but fundamentally, this is a much bigger problem.
Yeah, if anybody tries to kill Trump, Trump's got Trump to blame. Okay? If a crazy person is pushed to kill Trump, it's his own goddamn fault. It's no one's fault but his own.
But on Monday, speaking about Biden and Harris, Trump told Fox News Digital, quote, "These are people that want to destroy our country." Then adding, "It is called the enemy from within. They are the real threat."
Yeah, that's the rhetoric that Trump talks about.
But as Senator Vance puts it,
what's really different and what President Trump and I try to do is never call for censorship of our fellow Americans. We can criticize Kamala Harris's policies. You'll never hear Donald Trump say she should be kicked off social media, or she should be arrested, or she should be silenced.
There was plenty of criticism blaming the Biden-Harris administration for the current state of the economy, while instead calling the Inflation Reduction Act the Inflation Explosion Act.
Donald Trump and I have a plan to reduce inflation in this country, is that we want to unleash American energy, and we want to make it easier to produce the things that we need right here in America.
Vance also explaining that they'll reduce regulations that he says are driving up costs.
Cut out the power plant mandates.
I don't believe anything that he's about to say. What he's about to say is not the reason why energy prices and food prices are high. It's not at all.
Cut out the electric vehicle mandates, and you actually drive down costs for everybody, because in driving down the cost of energy, you make groceries more affordable, you make housing more affordable.
On affordable housing, while the Harris-Walz ticket is providing up to $25,000 toward a down.
I don't want the price of houses to drop, because right now I'm looking at 7.5 large for this one. So fuck that.
Payment for first-time home buyers. Vance is pivoting toward immigration.
I think one of the biggest issues I hear from Michiganders is that housing is way too expensive. 2 things that we've got to do.
It's
One,
perfect. It needs to go up higher, in my opinion.
We've got to get all of the illegal immigrants out of this country.
No, we don't. Okay, now this is really fucked up. This is that whole trope that illegal immigrants are murderers and drug dealers. Now, even if they are, good. We need more of those.
One, we've got to get all of the illegal immigrants out of this country who are competing with Americans for scarce homes. We've also got to build more homes in the process.
In the 2 months Vance has been the nominee, he's been to the battleground state of Michigan 5 times, mainly spending time on the west side.
We love this area. It's a beautiful area of the state, and I say this as a Buckeye, of course. Michigan always gives me a good welcome, and I'm grateful for that.
Now, with under 2 months to go until Election Day, Michigan will likely welcome Senator Vance and former President Trump once again.
No secrets here. Michigan's one of the most important states for President Trump and for Kamala Harris. And so we're just trying to get out voters, turn out voters, and speak to as many people as we can.
In Sparta, Eileen Gould, Fox 17 News.
She should have asked about the cats and dogs thing, which he fabricated. Remember, with Dana Bash, whatever the fuck her name is, when he was like, oh, yeah, well, I did that so that people will pay attention to the illegal immigration problem in Springfield because no one was paying attention to it, so I created that. What? Rebecca says all the immigration talk has undertones of racism. More than that, it is serving as a dog whistle for stupid people to do what they do. Hate. That's what stupid people do. They've got nothing better to do with their time. So that means when the dumb fuck who's walking through Meyer in my town sees a man who's brown, okay, he's likely to do something stupid, say something stupid, treat them poorly, discriminate against them. Again, Trump and Vance, and before that, Trump and Pence and whoever the fuck, has allowed these animals that were in the shadows, that were in the corners, that nobody, that never saw the light of day, to be normalized. Now it is okay to act like a racist fuck, and nobody bats an eye. That's what you have. It allows for people to say their crazy shit, spew their venom, their anti-Semitic talk, their anti-gay talk on podcasts all across the world. That's what you have. And it's all funny. It's all a good time. That's what people do. Unbelievable. All right. The chat is difficult to read today. I'm not gonna lie. I'm struggling with it. Piano Finger Banger says, LOL. He thinks people that came here with absolutely nothing and are working hard labor jobs are driving up housing prices. That's exactly what he's saying. Becky says there was an interview on Capitol Hill yesterday. A Republican congressman was interviewing a woman, and the outright racism was horrifying. He told the woman she should put a bag over her head. My God. All right, hold that thought. EZ has a potty break. Yes, I have to do that. I will be back in just a bit. We will take an intermission. And you guys hang there. Okay, please. I appreciate you so much. Okay. I'm back. Can't help. Enlarged prostate makes things difficult. Okay, thanks to everybody who's watching the show on Facebook and YouTube. I appreciate you so much. I'm going to kick you out, though. The rest of the show is available on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Eric Zane Live. Go there, and you can enjoy the rest of the show. You're not going to want to miss it, too, because I've got a ridiculous story about something that happened in the neighborhood here that is an all-timer. Twitch.tv/Eric Zane Live, or download the Twitch app, and then just search Eric Zane Live, all one word. Thank you. Send me an email on the Shoreliners Striping inbox. Eric@ericzaneshow.com. That would be awesome. All right. So, hold on a second here. Sorry, I'm discombobulated. What we have going on in the neighborhood was ridiculous. This was incredible. I was doing my thing in the front yard, and I hear a shriek, and I hear, no, oh, no. And I'm like, what's going on? Now, where I live, it's, you have the cul-de-sac, and then behind me is this hillbilly, Schimmel. And Schimmel has chickens. And the Beaches, who live a couple doors down, they got this golden doodle, Ruby. And Ruby is running through the cul-de-sac with one of Schimmel's chickens in her mouth. And the chicken is freaking out. He's going, and Ruby is running around with the chicken. And, okay. So, now the Beaches have a adorable special needs child. I just love her so much. And she says hi to me all the time. And she's panicking because mom's panicking. And it's probably scarring her for life. This traumatic moment where Ruby and the chicken is alive, is making all this fucking noise, and Ruby's playing, thinks it's a goddamn game. So now I can barely move with the arthritis. Anything more than a walk is a problem. And I do my best, though, to help Christiana corner Ruby. And then we get Ruby in a corner. And the chicken screaming all like bloody murder. And I was able to hang on to Ruby. And then she pries open Ruby's mouth, and the chicken goes fucking taking off, and he goes underneath a bush. And so, all right, we're like, how bad is this thing fucking hurt? I look at her, she looks at me, I go, oh my God, our heart's beating 1,000,000 miles an hour. Now, Schimmel, okay, there's a bit of a concern with Schimmel. Megan says, honestly, I'm amazed Ruby didn't kill it. Callie killed 4 chickens in less than 30 seconds. All right, that is Act 1 of the podcast. Act 2 is available right after this one. Go check it out. What are you doing? Don't miss a second of it. Thank you so much.